Hello, movers and shakers. Welcome to another episode of Lift Your Moving Marketing, where we transform your moving business into a moving success. I'm Christina Hawkins, your host. Today, we're delving into the powerful strategy I like to call CORE: Cultivate, Originate, Relate, and Expand. This approach is all about growing your moving business from the inside out. So let's dive in. Let me tell you a little story about my experience with lead gen companies and moving leads. As someone that has moved basically since I've been 2 years old, every 3 years of my life, I have been on the receiving end of what it means when you're trying to work with a moving company. My most recent move was a local move, literally down the street. And I started with the estimation tools. How much is it going to cost me to move down the street my 1,400 square foot house that I'd lived in for probably longer than I have anywhere, and I'd accumulated more than I'd ever accumulated. Before that, it was military moves, interstate moves, international moves, private moves, corporate moves, you name it. And this was the first time that I was on my own. It was always somebody else that kind of stepped in. So I was on my own trying to figure out, how do I move? And I went down the path of looking for estimating tools. And you start off thinking you're going to get an idea of how much it's going to cost. It's really kind of how you start off. You're like, okay, if I'm going from point A to point B, I know pretty much the size of my house. And, I can hopefully I get some kind of roundabout estimate how much it might cost. So this didn't go well. I was inundated with phone calls, emails, and I didn't ask for that. That's not what I wanted. I just was trying to get an estimate, just a roundabout estimate of how much it might cost. And what I got was moving companies and salespeople just calling me relentlessly. Hey, call us, appointments. And I just was like, this isn't what I asked for. I didn't sign up for this. So as a marketer, I'm thinking to myself, this is a very, very bad experience for a customer, which gave me the idea of building a baseline for any moving marketing called CORE: Cultivate, Originate, Relate, and Expand. And I'm going to go into each of them here. And I'll continue to expand on this concept throughout this podcast, as pretty much everything kind of relates back to this. So Seth Godin, the author of Permission Marketing, he talks about turning strangers into friends, friends into customers. Unlike traditional marketing, which he refers to as interruption marketing, like TV ads, cold calls, pop-ups, this type of filling out the leads and getting inundated with, I didn't give you my permission to do that. It may have been in a fine print somewhere, but that's not what got me to there. So permission marketing is based on the consumer giving their consent to receive your marketing messages. By obtaining consent from your customers to receive updates, tips on moving, special offers, or other relevant content, you create a more engaged and loyal customer base. And yes, I understand moving companies, it can be rather transient. You might have one family and they might not call you back for 5 years, 10 years, depending on, the size of the family, size of the home. Obviously, if they purchase a large home, they're probably not going to be moving for a while. But if you've got renters, you want those people to be long-term customers that might rent for a couple of years and move for 3 years, or you might be their chosen moving company. So by this approach, where you are basically obtaining consent from your customers to receive updates and tips and offers, it aligns well with that core strategy, particularly in the relate stage, where personalization and understanding a customer's needs are just absolutely vital. You don't have a lot of time to help somebody make a decision, and you don't want to come off on the wrong foot. So if you can start that conversation and get that permissive marketing on a good note, you're more likely to get somebody that's interested and will call back. So first is that initial cultivate marketing. This is about planting the seeds for long-term growth. For moving companies, this means engaging with your audience through solid content marketing, genuine relationship building. It's not just about attracting leads, which can be very short-term. If you stop paying, the leads stop showing up. I was trying to come up with something interesting there and it didn't come. So it's about creating a community around your brand. Share moving tips, packing hacks, real life moving stories on your blog and social channels. This organic approach sets the foundation for loyal customer relationships. The next segment we have is Originate. This is where you become the master of your lead generation. Don't rely on buying leads. I'm not saying don't use buying leads, don't buy leads. I mean, paid ads, you've got Google Business Local Ads or Google Guarantees. I'm just saying don't rely on them solely. You need to have a nice mix where if somebody says you didn't follow our rules or we're no longer in business and that's it, then that's not a good baseline for your marketing strategy. Leverage your brand's unique qualities. Host virtual home tours if you can, offer personalized moving consultations, create interactive moving checklists, make your brand a go-to resource for all things moving. Now let's move on to Relate. This is all about building meaningful connections with your leads, understanding your specific moving needs, fears, expectations. Use surveys, social media polls, direct conversations to get your customers' heads in the right space. When you relate to them on a personal level, you're not just a service provider, you become a moving partner. Think about that with real estate agents as well. Think of becoming their moving partner, the ones that they rely on for maybe it's a home staging moves that as they have open houses. It's not, think about also your customers. I hear a lot that most of the time customers, it's their first time moving and they're going to rely on you. So what's the best way that you can relate with them and let them know that you are the experts in this field? Finally, expand. This is where the magic happens. You've built the relationship. Now it's time to grow them. Offer exceptional customer service. Follow up post moves. Ask for feedback. Encourage referrals. Always aim to exceed expectations. Remember, a happy customer is your absolute best advocate. They are your for sure, forever referral network. All right. So again, as I've mentioned before, I'm trying to keep these podcasts under 10 minutes. I think I got it. That's it for today's episode. Remember, the core strategy is about building from within to create a strong, sustainable, moving business. Cultivate your leads, originate your own opportunities, relate to your customers, expand your reach. I'm Christina Hawkins, and you've been listening to Lift Your Moving Marketing. So keep moving, and I'll see you next time.